Sandbox MMA fans, it is time for another MMA news reaction. Haven't done one of these in a while. There's a few things that I want to go through. First of all, my favorite fighter, Jon Jones. Just kidding. I hate that wife-beating, PED-eating piece of garbage. Jon Jones is in some trouble. We're going to go through that. Now, if you haven't seen it already, go check back at my video a couple months ago reacting to the MMA Guru, pretty much breaking down a lot of the stuff that happened with Jon Jones and then giving my own 2 cents on it. It's going to be a very in-depth video regarding the whole situation. So this one I'm going to gloss over. I already have a whole video talking about it. Not going to dive into it for too long. Other thing I want to talk about, Dana White went on the Pat McAfee Show and talked about the Sphere for a little bit. There's a few things I wanted to break down there as well. And there's also a bunch of fight announcements with UFC being lined up for the rest of the year with main events possibly, as well as other fights that have been mentioned. Just going to give my initial reaction to them. Don't want to keep this video too long. I don't want you guys to have to feel like you need to watch this thing for 30 minutes. We're going to break down a lot of this stuff quickly, but we're going to start right away. The biggest cheat in MMA history, Jon Jones right here. Jon Jones has been charged with 2 misdemeanors stemming from an incident with a drug testing agent on March 30th. Public records on the New Mexico court's website show that Jones has been charged with assault and interference with communications. If convicted, he could face less than a year of jail time and be fined up to $500 for the assault charge, a petty misdemeanor, and $1,000 for the second charge. I'm not going to go to the link in bio for the story. I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview of pretty much what has happened in this situation. If you don't remember, just watch this video. I'm going to stop. I'm going to break it down after, give a little bit more of my 2 cents. So just reading here, obviously, Jon Jones released the first statement after reports emerge of him allegedly threatening to kill a female drug tester. This is what happened at the end of March. Female drug tester went in the house for random drug testing. It's part of what the UFC fighters need to do. They're subject to random drug tests. It was apparently at like 4 in the afternoon. Jon Jones threatened him. Jon Jones literally said something along the lines of, "Do you know what happens when people just break into my house?" Like, dude, it's a drug testing agent. You know the drill. You've done this before. And then he posted a video of them leaving like it's totally okay. Oh, all's good. All's okay. Like she wasn't scared for her life that Jon Jones just threatened her. Now, we don't know if this really happened or not. We don't know what Jon Jones actually said. But when you look at all the things that he's done in the past, all the issues he's had, the beating his wife annually, the hit and run of a pregnant lady, the consistent PED abuse that he has popped for time in and time out, he's not the most cooperative with the drug testing agents, the hiding under the ring when, hiding under an octagon when the drug testers were around so he could avoid the drug tests. Like, these are the kind of things that, enough stuff is piled up to say, you know what? My opinion, Jon Jones probably fucking did it, but let's just go through this really quick.
According to a report from MMAfighting.com, a police report filed on April 5th by a female agent representing drug-free sport alleged that Jones grabbed her phone after he appeared agitated when he wasn't able to urinate for the test. During the altercation that the police report states took place on March 30th, the drug testing agent claimed Jones put her phone in his pocket, got into her face, and allegedly stated, "Why you fucking people come so early? Do you know what happens to people who come to my house?"
So that's the quote. Why do you people come so early? Do you know what happens to people that come to my house? Seems like a kind of threat from Jon Jones to me. Again, we don't know that this is the quote, but again, this is a dude that's having trouble pissing in the cup, probably because he's on so much cocaine. Dude, we have a heavyweight champion that has just stained the sport. He's just stained the sport. He's a terrible person, and honestly, he would get way more respect if he just admitted how fucking bad of a person he was, and he didn't beat his fucking wife. This dude sucks, man. Everything about this guy I fucking hate. Let's just keep going.
He ended up dead. Later, Jon Jones released footage in which he can be seen giving a high five to the drug tester who he allegedly threatened to kill as she was leaving along with her colleague after taking Jon's urine sample.
So Jon posted that video after, pretty much saying that everything's good. It was just a total misunderstanding. No big issues here. There's nothing wrong. We made up after. It's not as big of a deal as everyone's making it out to be. That could be true. But just because you posted the video doesn't mean it didn't happen. I'm willing to bet this girl would have done anything just to get out of the house and get this over with. You have the baddest man on the planet, and yes, he is the baddest man on the planet outside of Tom Aspinall, threatening you in their house because they can't piss in a cup, they get in your face, they take your phone. You will say anything to try and calm the situation down. You're not going to try and escalate it with the scariest dude who can kill you, who has a history of hitting women. This woman was probably fearing for her life and doing anything she could do to de-escalate the situation. That's the reality of what I think's going on here. So now you have a situation in which, again, dumb people who don't understand the justice system are saying, well, I don't get it. I don't get what's happening. Why did this happen on March 30th and it's coming out now? Court proceedings, guys. This is a long-standing process. It's dumb that it takes this long of a process, but it is a long process that they have to make sure he's guilty. If they're going to charge him, they have to make sure there are files to be charged. Like, they have to go through all this bullshit to make sure that they can press charges and make sure that he is guilty. That's why it takes so long. Court proceedings don't take a short amount of time. Now, if he's actually convicted, they're saying he can face less than a year of jail time. What is less than a year of jail time? Is it a month? Is it 11 months? I don't know. Let's call it in the middle 6 months. That puts him past his November fight date with Stipe Miocic. The fight date that we all thought he was going to fight on, UFC 309 in Madison Square Garden. Would have been in November. That puts him past then. So now he's holding up the heavyweight division again. Meanwhile, we have an interim champion in Tom Aspinall, who's an upstanding guy, good human being from everything that we've seen, super dominant fighters, UK guy, someone that Dana White should be promoting the fucking hell out of, defending his interim belt against Curtis Blades. This guy, Tom Aspinall, has smoked everyone in a minute or less. Except for Arlovsky somehow. I don't know how the fuck Arlovsky took him longer. But again, the guy comes back from his injury. He throws the elbow down the middle that knocks out Tybura. He knocks out Pavlovich, who everyone's saying is the most dangerous guy in the division at the time, in a minute. And now he wants the Jon Jones fights. Jon Jones is clearly ducking him because he's terrified of Tom Aspinall. And now we're going to get a situation where we're going to have Tom Aspinall defending the interim belt not just once. He's definitely defending it once, maybe twice. He might be defending this twice before Jon Jones gets in that octagon and fights his Legends fight with Stipe Miocic for the undisputed belt. That's ridiculous. He shouldn't be fighting Stipe Miocic in the first place. But I get it. You want the Legends fight. That would have been great if it didn't take 3.5 years to make. Didn't take 3.5 years. If it didn't take a year and a half, coming up on 2.5 years to make if these charges get filed. But now we have to wait because John's going to take his easy win against Stipe. And I get it. People go, how are you calling Stipe an easy win? I'm calling Stipe an easy win because he's over 40 years old and he hasn't had a win since August of 2020. That's why he is. If it was prime Stipe, I like Stipe's chances better than I do right now. But it's not prime Stipe. It's old, I thought I retired already Stipe. Jon Jones is going to duck Tom Aspinall after that fight. We're going to have an interim champion. What the UFC really should do is make Aspinall Blades for the undisputed title. Jones has to come back, fight the winner, and he can fight Stipe in his retirement fight after that. Jones should have to fight the winner of Blades versus Aspinall. Plain and simple. And if not, then Pereira takes the shot up, and Jon and Stipe can just have a non-title on the line. You can make a fake Legends title if you want. You can have a non-title fight on the line, and you can have that headline the pay-per-view and stack the card underneath it. Fine. But for the title, it's Tom Aspinall, and it's Tom Aspinall only. The only guy that's actually defending a belt in the heavyweight division right now. I can't believe we're watching an interim champion defend his belt against a very dangerous contender in Curtis Blades, and then maybe fight a dangerous contender in Alex Pereira coming up in weight? Or the winner of Volkov Gone 2, which we're going to get to a little bit later? He already beat Pavlovich. He's already beaten Volkov. He beat Tybura. He's beating these top guys. Jon Jones is the guy that needs to pass the torch to Tom Aspinall for legacy. And Dana White should be saying it's time to pass the torch. But Dana White won't do that because Jon Jones has some kind of dirt on him. It's got to be that way. It is absolutely insane the way Dana White has been glazing Jon Jones. Regardless, we're not going to take too much more time on this topic. This is disgusting from Jon Jones yet again. Criminal, stupid, dumb human being, bad human being that tries to bring God into his mess. God will be there for everyone. But you can't say that he's testing you when you do this shit over and over again. DC said in an interview with Rogan, mistake? You don't make mistakes over and over and over and over again. Jon does because he doesn't learn from his mistakes. He doesn't care. Jon thinks the world revolves around him. He is the baddest man on the planet. But at the end of the day, if he stepped in that octagon with Tom Aspinall, everybody and their mother would know that Tom would beat his fucking ass. But instead, Jon's going to go home and beat his wife instead of Tom Aspinall. So, Jon might go to jail. The fine, the money, I don't really give a shit about. That money is nothing. Anybody can fucking pay that off, seriously. Most people can pay that off. Jon Jones can definitely pay that off, I guess is what we'll say. But yeah, dude, Jon might end up in jail, and if he does, dude, we need to make this Aspinall Blades the undisputed title, and Jon can come back and fight the winner of that, because we can't keep just finding ways to delay this and delay this and delay this. Anyway, we get to another topic. Dana White on Pat McAfee talking about the Sphere. So Dana White is talking about on this, first of all, he went on a rant about how, like, Trump's the GOAT, like, tough dude, all that stuff. I'm just going to say, if you threaten to assassinate the former president of the United States, that's an attack on our country. I agree with Dana here. Trump's kind of fucking badass for taking a shot in the ear, standing up, cheering, and all that stuff. Don't know what our world's coming to, but he pretty much goes on this Trump rant for a while, talks about McGregor Chandler for a little bit, and now he's talking about Mexico, the Mexican spirit, and the Sphere card. So I'm a big fan of Pat McAfee, by the way, but I'm going to say something about Pat McAfee that some people that are big fans of him may not like, but they'll understand.
Like I say, some of the biggest legends of all time in combat sports have come out of Mexico. So this is a love letter to the people of Mexico, their history, who they are, and where they come from.
Okay, so that's a theme of the evening. Obviously, on Mexican Independence Day, we're excited for that. How many fights are going to be on the card? Do you know that?
We're going to do 10.
Dana White says they're going to do 10 fights. Love that we're having double-digit fights. I can't believe I'm saying I love that it's double digits, but, like, I'm just thinking back, and maybe I'm spoiled. Let me know in the comments, but, like, when I look at numbered events, the pay-per-views, we have 5 fights on the pay-per-view. We have 4 prelims, and then we have 3 or 4 early prelims. That's usually how this is broken down, so I don't know why we have such little... I mean, dude, I feel like these numbered events, we never get less than 12. Even fight nights, we never get less than 11. We've had less than 11 because of people dropping out the day of the fight, but we always have more than 10. I don't know why Dana's doing just 10 fights for the Sphere. It's a little confusing to me. It's kind of a... I don't know, dude. I feel like this is a 13, 14 fight card that we should have. It doesn't have to be 15. I'd love 15, but it doesn't have to be 15. We can do 13 fights. 3, you can do 12. 3, 4, 5. You can do 3 early prelims, 4 prelims, 5 main event, or 5 main card pay-per-view fights. But 10? For the greatest spectacle that will ever be put on at the Sphere? Greatest combat sports, all that, that's all he was talking about. This is going to be one of the best events of all time. We're all thinking it's going to match 300 the way he's talking about it. But he says 10 fights? I don't know, dude. That's a very little amount to me.
10? Is it going to be like a fight week type? Like what type of card? Because you got to balance, right? Main events. But if you have 2...
This is what I'm going to say about Pat McAfee. Love the guy. I think he brings a different kind of voice to sports. The way he talks about sports with his crew is inspiring. The way that he has taken over ESPN and is the only relevant thing on there, and they can't cancel him, they can't take him down, is inspiring. Love to see it. One of my favorites I've ever heard talk about sports, period. But when it comes to mixed martial arts, he talks about it like it's wrestling. He talks about it like it's WWE. It's not. This is real. There aren't 5 main events in one night. You don't spread them out across the week on Raw, NXT, SmackDown, then the pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is MMA, where there's a main event, there's a co-main event, there's a feature fight, and then there's all the fights beneath it. Prelims, early prelims, other main card fights, main card openers, things like that. It's not a fight week with multiple main events. That's a very WWE way of talking about it. You can tell, look at Dana's face. Like, Dana's like, bruh, what am I hearing this dude say? McAfee, I love you, but that's just not how it is. Let's go back in 10 seconds and just listen to it again.
We're going to do 10.
10? Is it going to be like a fight week type? Like what type of card? Because you got to balance, right? Main events. But if you have 5 main events, how many main events? Or are you not worried?
You have 5 main events. How many? Is this Tito Ortiz? Is this Tito Ortiz talking? Oh, I love you, McAfee, but buddy, there's no, it's not that.
There'll be a main and co-main, and obviously this card will be very Mexican heavy.
Okay. All right. We're excited to watch.
So first of all, go check out the Pat McAfee Show. The Pat McAfee Show is fucking awesome. One of the better shows on YouTube, on ESPN. The only good show on ESPN, I swear to God. The only one that doesn't have casual... I'm not going to say casual, but I'm the only one that doesn't have fucking bot-level NPC takes that ESPN pays them to say and fucking... because they got to be all woke and shit, and it's just annoying, but... Pat, dude, you're wrong on that. But to take away what happened in this interview is Dana said 10 fights for the Sphere, which I think is low, and very Mexican heavy, which I really like. If it's Mexican Independent Day, it should be very Mexican heavy. I don't think it should be all Mexicans on the whole card, but it should be mostly Mexicans on the card. You have enough where you can make a very good-looking card. You put Manuel Torres on there on the prelims is a great prospect. Daniel Zellhuber, you can do that thing there too. You can also have Moreno on the main card. I think that'd be a good one. You have Grasso as the feature fight. Lot of good things that you can do on this card. You should put Yair on it, but I don't think Yair's going to be ready from everything that I read. You can put Ortega on it, who, yes, has the American flag, but he is of Mexican descent. Jonathan Martinez, same thing. You're looking at a lot of these fighters that you can put in there. Manuel Torres is the one that I'm most excited about. The guy goes out there and just finishes people like that. It's unbelievable. You can put Adrian Yanez on there. You can put Peyton Talbot because it's a big card against Adrian Yanez. You can do a lot with this fight card. I'm afraid 10 fights isn't going to be enough. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Now we're going to get into the other parts where we're going into fights. So, Ariel Helwani pretty much broke this down, saying this is how the rest of the year will shake out. The 306 Sphere main event will be O'Malley versus Merab. That's what they're targeting. Love that fight. Sick fight. Co-main would be Grasso title defense. And they didn't say Shevchenko, which makes me think that it may not be Shevchenko. Maybe she doesn't want to fight at the Sphere and get robbed because it's on Mexican Independence Day. Maybe she's going to be more strategic than that. If it's not, then it's probably going to be Manon Fiorot or Rose Namajunas. I don't think it'll be Rose because she just fought, and she lost to Manon. But yeah, so I'm thinking it's going to be... I would like to see Ilya Topuria, Max Holloway headline, co-main Sean O'Malley, Merab Dvalishvili, and then Alexa Grasso in the feature fight. I think that's a great way to put it and make it one of the most legendary cards you'll ever have. I think that would be sick. Now let's just talk about Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. We all know this is the fight to make. I'm going to say it, dude. Sean O'Malley's going to knock Merab out. He's going to knock Merab out. I think Merab can take Sean down, but I think Merab's going to hear the fans, the crowd, not want the boos, start trying to exchange with O'Malley, rush in, and start getting hit and tagged. Then once he gets tagged, he's going to go, oh, fuck, I can't stand on the feet with this guy and just blitz him with punches. I do need to mix in these takedowns. And he's going to rush in for the takedown, and O'Malley's just going to catch him coming in and end up finishing the fight. Maybe a little bit of an early stoppage, but I think O'Malley's going to win this fight, guys. I really do. And this is the one where everyone's going to go, holy fuck, he's beaten Jan. Kind of. I give that fight to Jan still, but it was close enough. Beat Sterling, fair and square. It's not an early stoppage. He beat him fair and square. It's a good stoppage. And then Merab. You beat Jan, Sterling, Merab, and then you have the winner of Sandhagen versus Umar, which is going to be Sandhagen, by the way. I hate that Umar's getting this fucking privilege, but it's going to be Sandhagen. That would be, I mean, that's just legacy there at bantamweight. So I think it's going to be Sean. That's a sick main event, but I would prefer it to be Ilya versus Max and then Sean co-main. But if they're not doing that, it looks like Ilya versus Max is going to take place at Salt Lake City, which I don't like. I don't like the most anticipated title fight of the entire year taking place at altitude. Max can go, I get it. Ilya can kind of go, but I would like to see what this looks like in the Vegas Octagon. This fight should be happening in Las Vegas or in Spain. It should not be at altitude. I think that's going to take away from this fight. And then we got Pena versus Pennington for the co-main. So at least you guys can take a dump at right around like 11:30-ish before Max and Ilya go on. Because that'll probably be a 5-round clinch fest that Raquel Pennington's just going to win in the clinch and throw body knees and little pitter-patter shots. So that way Kayla Harrison can end up smashing her in the next fight. Ilya versus Max is a sick fight. I'm going to go with Max, but I don't like the way everyone's been discounting Ilya Topuria, because Ilya Topuria is very dangerous. He's a great boxer. He's got a lot of power. He's no easy out. I look at this fight as a pick'em. If this thing is anything other than a pick'em, I'd be shocked. The fans are just going to say it's Max, it's Max, it's Max because of the recency bias and his knockout over Gaethje because it was fucking spectacular and he is one of the best fighters of all time. He's a top 10 fighter of all time, in my opinion, Max Holloway. But you're coming up against a young, hungry, undefeated guy in Ilya Topuria that's going to be 27, 28 years old at this time, and he's got power, he's got really good hands, and he has a tremendous Greco-Roman wrestling game with great jiu-jitsu. He's a seriously, seriously skilled fighter, so I'd be very interested to see how it goes, but I would go with Max in that fight. That headlines in Salt Lake City, I'd be upset because I don't want it to take place at altitude. I want it in a regular octagon, regardless. I think it should be Chandler McGregor at altitude because that fight's not going the distance anyway. Call me crazy. You do Ilya versus Max on that, you do Chandler there, and then Pereira headlines 310. That's how I would do it, but then you get Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. This is huge news. Arman Tsarukyan got bullied into making an apology video, which he has to do. I hope he doesn't do it sincerely, because fuck the fucking people bullying him into making an anti-bullying video. Grow up. Bullying is now needed again because everyone has gone so fucking soft. But Islam versus Arman, I'm going to go with Islam. I think he wins this fight standing on the feet. I think the scrambles are going to be a lot of fun, but Arman's going to try standing on the feet as well. Arman can definitely hit some punches, but I think Islam's kicks are going to win him this. I think his tie clinch is going to win him this. I'm going to pick Islam to win that fight. Sick fight. Obviously going to headline 308. Jones versus Stipe. If Jones goes to jail, then it's not going to be. It's probably going to be an Alex Pereira fight or a Tom Aspinall fight, or they're fighting each other. Obviously, Jones is going to win that. We're not going to give too much fucking credit there because Jon Jones is a fucking wife-beating, PED-cheating bitch. And then McGregor-Chandler at 310. Personally, the way I would do this is, again, I'm going to say it again. Ilya, Max, main event. Sean Merab, co-main event of 308. 306. 307, main event. McGregor, Chandler. 308, Islam, Arman. 309, Jones, Stipe. 310, Pereira versus Ankalaev or Pereira versus Aspinall. That's how I would do it. We're going into other fights. Make sure to check out the full violence page for that, but also make sure you're following Homa Fight, because Homa Fight breaks, great news consistently. They're usually the first to it. I'm going to go through a ton of different posts on this page, going through fights that have been announced, giving my quick recap and reaction, just like I just did with that other breakdown post. Right, of the whole year. Moicano, Benoit Saint Denis. Dude, I'm going Moicano. I like Moicano. I like BSD too. I love both of these guys. I hate that someone has to lose. But I actually think people go crazy for BSD's grappling, and it's great. It's heavy pressure. It's good. It's got wrestling, jiu-jitsu. Moicano, I think, has better grappling, jiu-jitsu, and wrestling. I do. I think he has the ability to get up. I think he has the ability to neutralize BSD when BSD is on top. Pause. And I think he has the ability to reverse. I also think that Moicano can have some trouble on the feet, but I think he can throw a good straight two. He can fake the jab, throw a good straight two out there, and I think he can catch BSD with a lot of really good shots, while BSD is just winging hooks coming in with no defense, because BSD throws great kicks as well, and I think that could be trouble for Moicano. He could get head kicked like Frevola got head kicked by BSD, and like Jalen Turner head kicked Moicano. But I don't think that's going to happen. I just got a feeling Moicano's going to pull this one off. This guy can't afford to lose, and we're going to get another epic Octagon interview. I'm going Money Moik, guys. I'm going Money Moicano. These are the starting odds, too, plus 190. Give me Moicano, especially in a 5-rounder. Give me Money Moicano, baby. Next fight that was announced. Gane Volkov 2. So Cyril Gane ducking Jailton Almeida. Hey, Drive Picks. Also, follow this guy. This guy's the fucking man. Love a lot of his takes. Agree with a lot of what he has to say. Agree Gane's a joke. If he wasn't French, the UFC wouldn't treat him like royalty. That is facts. Cyril Gane's going to get a Volkov fight instead of the Almeida fight that he should be taking. It should be Almeida versus Gane. But Gane probably said no to Almeida. He wants a higher-ranked guy like Volkov, so he gets the rematch against Volkov. Volkov's going to win. Volkov is much improved since their last fight, has gotten bigger. Swolkov. He's gotten bigger, stronger, more powerful. He's really bulked, and he's bigger than Gane. I also think that Cyril Gane's head's not fully in the game, dude. He's filming his movies, he's playing fucking FIFA and all this shit. The Olympics are going to be in France, so he's going to be a little preoccupied worrying about that for the next month and a half or month. He's a celebrity over there. And I think it's really hard when he gets that famous that I don't know that he's going to take this fight as seriously as he think. I think he's going to go in saying, I already beat this guy, and I think Volkov's going to show up and just outpoint him and win this fight. It's 3 rounds. I like that for Volkov too. And it's in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi loves their Russians. Cyril Gane, man, I think he's going to lose a decision here. And I think he's going to lose at 29-28. But it should be 30-27. I honestly think that Volkov's going to win this fight. So I'm going with Volkov. Cyril Gane's a pussy for not taking the Almeida fight. He's probably going to sit out after this fight if he wins and beg for a title shot, which I don't think we should give him. I just don't think so. Alex Pereira's ahead of him. Aspinall's ahead of him. I guess Gane's after that, but, there's 2 people in front of him, so it is what it is. Next fight. Hamza Chimaev also got involved in a scam. We're not going to talk too much about that because he's dumb, but if you put all your money into a fucking coin that was promoted by a UFC fighter, you are stupid and you don't deserve to have that money. Gamrot versus Hooker. Gamrot's going to win. I'm really hoping Hooker wins. And this is good because 305, I was nervous. When you look at ESPN, it says that Junior Tafa is going to be on the pay-per-view. Why the fuck would Junior Tafa be on a pay-per-view? He sucks. He's low level. He's 5-2. He is Australian, sure, but he's not even the knockout artist brother. He's not good at fighting. He's fighting a fucking terrible fighter. Why are we doing Junior Tafa on the pay-per-view? Anyway, he's going to get bumped off now, I believe. If he doesn't, I'm going to be really pissed off because Junior Tafa does not deserve it. We're getting Gamrot versus Hooker, which is very much needed on this card. I saw Josh Kulabau versus... I forget who was on the pay-per-view as well, which I think that was a really good fight. I think it's going to be a very entertaining one. Josh Kulabau is very entertaining. But now you have Izzy versus DDP, sick main event. Co-main, Usyk versus Kai Kara France, sick fight. And then you have Hooker versus Gamrot as a feature fight. And then you have Tai Tuivasa, Jari Zinho as the 4th fight. And then you have Kulabau on there. I wish they threw on like a Volkanovski or a Whitaker, but they're not doing it. This is a good fight. I think Gamrot's just going to be able to outpace and wrestle Hooker. I think it's going to be hard for Hooker in the first 2 rounds, but I do think he's going to come alive in the 3rd round with Gamrot getting a little bit tired, him using some knees to really wear on Gamrot. Gamrot's not going to land much damage, but he's just going to lay and prey on Hooker, and it's going to be annoying. So I want Dan Hooker, but I mean, can't deny it. Mateusz Gamrot wins fights. He's a talented fighter. He's just boring. Co-main event, I believe, on the Paris card. Should be the co-main event. If it's not, then they're going to have a sick co-main. I wish it was 5 rounds for a co-main. Well, look at this. Brilliant. I already beat myself to it with no likes. Tough to see. I got late to it. Brendan Allen, Nasruddin Imavov, sick fight. Should be happening. Brendan Allen's dumb for not accepting it as a main event originally. But now it's Allen versus Imavov. I'm going to go with Imavov. I think he's a better striker, and I think he's good enough at defending the wrestling and is going to be good enough at stopping Brendan Allen from getting to his back to win the fight. I'm going to pick Imavov. I also think Brendan Allen's a little chinny. So, Brendan Allen's super talented. I like the guy a lot. I don't like the decision he made to not take a fucking main event fight. Now he got stuck with the 3-rounder here, which I think is worse for him. But Ivanov's going to win this fight. I think he's a better striker, but this is a really good co-main with BSD and Renato Moicano up at the main event. France is looking up to be good. So, great fight. I'm going with Imavov. There was one more that broke, I believe. Tabura Spivak 2. Fat heavyweights in the apex, never escaping, never going to escape. I don't know why we're seeing this fight. It's stupid. It's low level. Granted, this fight should happen. Shouldn't be a main event. Why is this a main event? It's going to be sloppy fat men wrestling. Dude, I literally left a comment here. 151 likes. So I did a little bit better here. But we're going to break down a few things. So, I'm going to go with Tybura. I think he's harder to hold down than people think. And I think he's got better cardio than Spivak. And I think he's going to use his kicks better. And I honestly think that Spivak's going to only have a chance winning this fight up against the cage. And I think Tybura can reverse that. So I'm going to go with Tybura to win a boring decision. But we're watching two fat heavyweights that don't care about getting in shape to fight have a sloppy main event. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be ugly. And then you have people always trying to defend it in the comments here. You casuals act like every main event can be pay-per-view status. No, they don't have to be pay-per-view status, but the main event should be. I'd be okay with a Dober Silva main event. Why wouldn't we do something like a Evloev versus Aljo main event? Why wouldn't we do something like that? Instead, we have two fat heavyweights. The UFC is out of touch with what the fans want. Completely out of touch. You casuals. Stop calling people a casual because they don't agree with your take. That's a fucking casual thing to do. You might as well join Jon Jones in prison. He'll drop the soap for you if you're interested. But dude, look at this clown. You casuals act like every main event can be pay-per-view status. No, but the main event should be the best fight on the fucking card. The main event should be worth watching. It shouldn't be low-level fat people fighting it out. Or it shouldn't be women's MMA all the time. We want damage done in the fights. We want fun fights. We don't want pitter-patter decisions. We don't want sloppy grapple fest with two sweaty fat men in the cage. It's fucking annoying, dude. The UFC is out of touch. They don't know what the fans want. They think that, oh, heavyweights are a very elite division. No, they're not. You have Gane, you have Jones, you have Aspinall, you have Volkov, you have Pavlovich, and you have Almeida. Those are 6 dudes that are actually in shape trying to fight. The other guys are just fat and out of shape, dude. It's annoying. Stop. God. I'd rather watch the fat guy strangler, fucking Jailton Almeida. At least he tries to fucking get in shape. And then I cooked his ass back. Wow, dude, you're excited for Spivak versus Tybura for 5 rounds? You must be such a hardcore. That's the thing, dude. People just want to gatekeep the sport, and they want people to call them hardcores. They want to be known as someone that knows the sport really well. No one fucking cares how much you know the sport. We all enjoy it. This is an open sport. Anyone come join and watch. We fucking love it. We all love it. You can be a casual. That's not a fucking bad thing. At least you enjoy the sport. We all love this sport. Stop trying to gatekeep it and act like you know more than everyone else, because you fucking don't. If you're excited for Tybura Spivak, you don't. You just have a gambling addiction, you fucking fat turd. Come on, bro. What the fuck is this? 260 likes. Heavyweight division is dead nowadays. 190 likes. I think there was a big one on here, too. I don't know where, but I don't know. Regardless, dude. This is the MMA news reaction. Hope you enjoyed it. Jon Jones again in trouble. Dana White announces Jon Jones is not again in trouble. He was in trouble, but now it's getting brought to a point where he might go to jail for it for a little bit and hold up the heavyweight division. Pat McAfee getting 10 fights out of Dana White for the Sphere, being very Mexican heavy, and then my reaction to a lot of fights and how the year is going to shape out. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching.